Hey, everybody. Lone Wolf here with Chad Nicholson tonight, my senior co host, 6 p.m. on the Pacific clock, 5/23/2023. We left Blog Talk Radio, and here we are tonight, back on Restream. Man, it feels good to be back. I won't say home, but it feels good to be back on Restream. It's it's very different from Blog Talk Radio. We're streaming on multiple channels, and we have the capability for you all to get in on this QR code here and to transfer it to your pages. Actually, there's the QR code right there if you all want to transfer it to your websites. And I'm not exactly sure how this thing works yet, but we will find out. I know it's going to our website already. But we do have also a code for you guys to put in for your page where we can be heard on your professional page or entertainment page. So a lot of different things going on here. A lot of new bells and whistles and buttons and levers and things. Tonight's going to be a great show, though. We're here on Restream. We're going to stay on Restream. We're going to give it a long try, hard try. Last time we just didn't like it because of BMI and Sony getting into our music business and trying to force us not to play the kind of music that we really like. And I don't know how we're going to handle that yet, but we will be doing a lot of news reels and a lot of news coming across the screen there, as you see. And eventually, our sponsors will be coming across the screen there. Welcome, Chad, to the show. How you doing, man?
Good, brother. Good. It's a great thing to be on this platform, actually podcasting now.
Yeah, it's different. A lot different. It's really kind of wicked, man. It's a lot better. People like to see your face. They like to see your environment. They don't just like to hear your voice. It's a lot more active and interactive, and it's a lot more colorful and comprehensive. And people can see my ugly mug and growing my beard back out here. And most people are like, "What the hell is going on with that?" And then every now and then we have people pop in on here if I want them to. But yeah, tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about relationships, which is something that I think everybody is thinking about now and forever. I think relationships is a very important issue, a very important show that we could do. And there's a lot of problems in relationships today. A lot of divorces, as you all know, the divorce rate is skyrocketing all over the world, not just in the United States. And my take on that is my remedy for divorce, of course, is my remedy to that is don't ever get married. And that's just the remedy to divorce is don't ever get married. Marriage is a fiction. Divorce is a fiction. It's all about your programming and your indoctrination, and it's all about your tradition or your creed or your culture, but dogma, your but if you talk about all of that religion, some countries they jump over a broomstick, and some countries they jump in a swimming pool. Some countries they walk through fire. Some countries they actually walk on hot coals. Some countries they slit each other's arm and they suck the blood from each other's arms. Some countries go out into the woods naked for 3 days and come back bonded. So many different things that you all don't even know is going on. It's just amazing that you're stuck on dumb. I hate to say that, but a lot of you are just stuck on dumb. You think that getting married means going to a church and having all this money spent. I've seen people when I did music for weddings, I've seen people spend $25,000 on a wedding, 40,000, 50,000, $150,000 on a wedding, which is ridiculous. And then the folks would be divorced within a year, 2 years, 5 years. Divorced, have kids, go to divorce court, cost another 350,000. That's an actual case of mine. Working on getting the grandkids back, never did. Went to, you know, borrowed all the family's money, all the coworkers' money, all the friends' money, all the bank money, sold the house, sold the boat, sold the car, still didn't get the grandkids back. So marriage, what is marriage? I mean, it's crazy. It's insane. It's something that I want everybody to really understand tonight. Chad and I are really going to be hitting hard tonight on what is best friends. How do you make friends? What is a best friend? And where did this marriage thing come from? I don't even want to get into the history of it tonight because it's all commercial. It's like Christmas. Where did Christmas come from? What is Christmas about? Is it about Jesus? Is it about no? It's about presents. It's about gifts. It's about commercialism. It's about capitalism. It's about profit. It's about power. It's about money. It's about time. It's about space. It's no, no. But anyway, it's all about money. Money, 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 money. It's not about love or matrimony. Matrimony. I mean, think about it. Uh, my whole solution to the problem of divorce and family court is just don't get married. And then I'm sure many of you are asking, well, what the hell is he talking about? Well, Marion and my Mary, have been together 25 wonderful years, and we've never mentioned the word marriage except in joking around and cutting up. We don't even think the word exists or should exist in the dictionary or in the lexicon or the vocabulary. We don't even think the word has any meaning because it doesn't. And divorce is the manifestation of the fiction of marriage, another fiction. And so you have one fiction producing another fiction, and then you have this other fiction of love. People get, they get together in a bar, they get a little drunk, they go to a motel, they have sex, and then together a couple of days, they'll, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. And oh, and then 3 days later or a week later, we should just get married and run off to Vegas. And, I've seen people go to Vegas the first night they met and get married in one of those little chapels for $150. And I've seen this over and over and over and over and over again. And then they're divorced. My whole thing, and then I'll let Chad have it, is we've been best friends 25 years, Marion and I. And we've been best friends and soulmates, if you want to say soulmates. Best friends, best friends, best friends. Why can't you just meet somebody and something magical happens and you remain together? Marion and I take one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. You've heard that song, One Day at a Time, Sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. That's what you need to do. Take one day at a time. When you marry, you're marrying the state, you're marrying the city, you're marrying the county, you're marrying the deep state, the dark state, the cabal, the syndicate, the Cosa Nostra. You're signing contracts, you're getting into all this crazy stuff. Your kids are now the possession of the state. Best friends are the only way to go, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we're going to talk about that more in depth. Chad, you want to talk
Yeah.
about some of it?
The thing is, when you get married, they hit you with that death do you part, and that's a conflict for a lot of people because they're looking at it. Oh my God, eternity. Oh my God, you know what I mean? It's eternity,
Oh my God.
but it's really not like
Yeah.
that. Like when they use the word eternity, it puts a depressing feel on a relationship, you know. But when you're with somebody, time flies. If you're good friends with somebody, it feels like you're there maybe an hour with them, hanging out, spitting, talking, smoking cigarettes, whatever. But yet it's like 4 or 5 hours went by. Like time doesn't exist when you're with your best friend, but they make you acknowledge time. They put a contract on you stating that if you mess up whatever way that this is going to happen. But when you're friends, you're not binded by anything but love. Like, that's the amazing thing about being friends. Friends don't have a contract between friends. So why would you have a contract between your best friend? That makes no sense. Like, that'd be like me and Kyler. Okay, guess what, bro? We need a contract. We're friends. So if I step this, I do that, something's going to happen, man.
Right.
But I just don't get it.
Right.
I see more peace at people that are being themselves and are true friends with themselves, opposed to worrying about marriage. I know people that's been together over 20 years and never been married, like you guys. I know other couples like that,
Hmm.
and they're happy with it.
Yeah. We came in clear, clean, and free, and we'll go out till death do us part, clear, clean, and free. And, we fall more in love every single day. We respect each other more and more every single day. We learn more about each other every single day, and there's always something new to explore. And, I will say that we have had our problems, but not abuse problems, not violence problems, domestic violence problems. We've had problems in life facing what's out there. We are a team, we are connected, and we are bonded, and we are fighting this insane war that's going out here outside of us. And we're looking at all of these crazy people who, if we want to talk about relationships, we can see all of the insanity going on. Y'all can just Google right now the insanity in the family courts. You can Google the marriage and divorce rate. You can Google how much money the family courts are raking in. You won't even see the real numbers. You can Google how much money CPS is taking in, how much the judges are taking in for their retirement counts, how much the attorneys are taking in for taking each other to family court and representing the plaintiff or the defendant. It's a multi-trillion-dollar scam, is all it is. It's a multi-trillion-dollar scam. Marion and I have separated ourselves from that, like I've separated myself from this insane illusion, delusion of material, physical reality, and I'm living in nirvana. I'm completely disconnected from the drama. Marion's learning to disconnect from the drama, but you guys and girls and girls and girls and guys and pronouns that are married, you've made a big mistake. You've made a big mistake because there's no way out of marriage except via divorce or via legal separation, which is still big trouble. And, like Chad said, we can sign a contract. You have roommate contracts. They have all kinds of contracts. There's thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of contracts. But when you get into a contract, you're signing a pact with Diablo. If you want to say Diablo, you're signing a pact with Diablo. And I had a Mexican friend of mine who used to say this, who was actually a preacher in the Church of God churches. And he said, we don't do Diablo here. We don't do Diablo here. We will bring people together. We will bring people together as one, as a bond under God or under source or under whatever religion that they prefer. But we will not ever get involved with someone who is going to a courthouse to sign a contract or a justice of the peace to sign a contract because that is all about property. I'll give you a little bit of history, tiny bit of history of marriage. Marriage is about property. It's about property. A dowry. It started with a dowry, okay? Y'all can look all this up later, okay? It started with a dowry. Marriage is about property. Marriage is to guarantee that the woman is taken care of. Originally, if the man happened to leave her, there would be something for the woman there, and there would be legal recourse for the woman to be able to recoup or recover damages. Well, that's all changed now because women have gone nuts and men have gone nuts, and they're all trying to kill each other now. So this dowry thing is over. It's not about women anymore, and then they're damaging the children. Look what divorce does to children. Look what well, it's very complicated. We'll get to that in a minute. But look what divorce does to children. You know, parents are arguing and arguing. They're calling each other horrible names. They're throwing stuff at each other. They're drinking. They're drugging. They're burning out in the car and leaving and running away and having wrecks and coming back and getting DWIs, and they're all violence and violence and violence. And the kids are watching all of this, and all this is going to the kids. People like this don't need to have kids, number one. Number two, they don't need to be married. Number three, they don't even need to be together. And then they separate whether they're married or not. And then the man's talking about the woman, and the woman's talking about the man. Oh, he was a bank robber. He was a child molester. He was a beater. He used to beat me. He used to take drugs. He used to sneak around with the secretary. And then the man's telling the girls and the boys, oh, mommy was a whore, and mommy used to date her boss, and mommy was a drug addict, and mommy took overdoses of those pills. It's just the kids are hearing all of this, and I guess, Chad, we brought up a box of worms here. We've opened the Pandora's box because this is what people are doing now. This is what millions of people in the United States are going through right now. And it honestly makes me have tachycardia. It makes me sick to my stomach to think about all of this insanity and this drama and this anger and this violence that is going on while we're on this show right now, when everything could be so synchronistic and so harmonic and so balanced and so peaceful and so transparent.
I know, and people want to point the fingers at everybody else. Oh, it's the reason there is because you're this person or this parent or that parent, and it's like you're teaching a child a bad habit already. For one, to not take responsibility, so that when they get into a relationship, they're going to do the same thing, and they're showing their kids this is the way relationships should be. The parents aren't leading by examples; they're only leading by their hormones. That's pretty much what it is. I see in society. It's how quick can I get in bed with this person, and that's it. And a lot of people get married because they have a one night stand, they get a baby, and that's the worst thing you could do right there.
Yeah, the children. What, babe? Oh, the code's cutting off Chad's chin. Marion doesn't like that. So that's funny. Yeah, let me
I adjust my
how do I
camera.
get rid of that? Oh, that's okay. You look great now. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Um so yeah, plus no, I don't want plus. I just want to get rid of that uh I just want to get rid of that code, that's all. But I don't know how. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy. People having all these kids, and it's just amazing to me. We got people around here having 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, 9, 10, 11. I've got a friend with 12 up in Alaska, and I've got one in Dallas with 12 kids, and it's just like, my God. And they're a wonderful couple. The one in Dallas is wonderful. They're a wonderful family, fantastic family. Now, I don't agree with marriage no matter how good the relationship is, no matter how wonderful and harmonic and balanced and beautiful it is, I don't agree with marriage at all. I mean, I'm vehemently opposed to the word marriage, to the action of marriage, to even the concept of marriage, because it leads to problems. It leads to contracts, and it leads to lawyers, and it leads to judges and prosecutors, and it leads to prison time, jail time. It leads to fines and penalties and perjury, and it leads to all kinds of things. And when you sign this contract, it's kind of like signing a contract with the devil. And I don't even believe in the devil. I know the devil doesn't exist. Some of you may disagree. That's fine, but I said Diablo, signing a contract with Diablo. It's like going to hell. You're signing your autograph there, and you're saying, "Let me into hell. Let me into hell, please, 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 please." And a lot of people, of course, have dissed me on these kind of shows and said, "Oh my God, we've been married, Kyler, for 35 years, 40 years, 50 years." Well, that's fine. That's wonderful. That's great. But I still do not agree with marriage. It is a fiction. It is a fiction. It is a fiction. And there's a lot of families that promote marriage in a way that it's traditional. You have to get married. They expect it. But by the time you're like when you have a quinceanera, by the time you have your quinceanera, you're married. You're ready to get married. 15 years old, you're a woman, and they expect you to get married. They expect you to have kids. They expect. It's all based on expectations, not on what you want, not on what the husband wants, but what the parents and the grandparents are dictating. And then they want you to be Catholic. Well, you have to be Catholic. Oh my God, you can't be Protestant. You can't be Jew. You can't be Church of Christ or Presbyterian or Methodist. Oh no, no, no. We'll disown you. We'll disown you from the family. We'll cut you completely off. You see all this insanity? You see all this insanity that we have to deal with on this show? It's crazy. Chad is learning a lot of things from me. I'm learning a lot of things from him, but it's total insanity, right? Right, Chad?
Yeah, the easiest way I can explain marriage is literally giving the government the authority to control your relationship. That's what it's designed for, in my opinion. They come in here, sign this contract stating that if you don't abide by everything you say, we're going to take everything from you. Here you go. Let the government in. We want to control your relationship as well. And the parents, like as you said, it's the religion based. Like a Catholic can't marry a Christian. That's a no-no. Or a Jew can't marry anything else. It's just nonsense. It's just more barriers for you not to find your soulmate.
Yeah, it really is. And then you have the guys in MGTOW, like you were talking about pre-show, who say, "Oh, women are all gold diggers, or women are all whores, or women are all out to take you to the bank." Or women are just out to, ruin your life, or they're out to control you. And then women say, oh, men are out to control you. Men have all this testosterone. They want to prove how tough they are, and they're not very romantic, and they don't know how to have sex, and they don't know how to please me. And the man will say, oh, she doesn't know how to have sex, and she doesn't know how to please me. And then there's no pleasure, and then there's no harmony, and then there's no balance, and there's no transparency. And this is going on. We have the sexual aspect to talk about, and you know, it's a big issue. Wow, it's a big issue here we've gotten into. I mean, when my dad used to say, love is a misunderstanding between two idiots, and he was right. Love is a misunderstanding between two idiots. And he was speaking metaphorically about all of these people who go out thinking that they really know kind of what they want. They really know all about relationships when they really don't know anything. They're in the third grade and they think they've graduated, and they haven't. They haven't even got out of the third grade yet. And when a man meets a woman, he doesn't know how. Most of the men that I know, they have no idea how to talk to a woman. They have no idea how to deal with a woman. They have no idea. They have no listening skills. They accuse women of being overly emotional and blah, 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 blah. And you know what? That may be true, and that's fine, and that's wonderful. As long as they're not crazy drama queens, as long as they're not temperamental, sensitive, insane people, as long as they don't get all froggy and freaked out over every little thing. I mean, there are times when, yeah, you need to get rid of a woman to say, well, thank you. The date was nice, but I'm ready to go home. I call it cab. Can you come get me? Yeah. And there's men the same way where women will go out with a man, and he'll be at the table. He'll start picking his nose or something, eating his boogers or something. Yeah, well, it's time to get a cab, ladies. Time to go home. Well, I did that with Marianne, and she was fine. Or passing gas. I had a friend who told me a story. Him and his wife, they've been married 30, 25, 30 years. And when she met him, he was a gas passer. Marion and I met him. He was a gas passer. We'd go sign a contract with some big remodeling deal, and he'd stand in the kitchen with the clients and just let one off. And then he had the kind of personality where they'd start letting them off, and they'd all start laughing together. And I'm sitting over there, me and Marion, going, "What? What the heck? You know, the hell?" And he just had one of those personalities. He'd fart anywhere. He'd fart in the store, and people would be laughing. It'd all be cutting up. But anyway, personality. Personality is everything. What kind of personality do you have? What to draw women in if you're a man? What's going to draw a woman to you? Women like mystery. They like a man that's standing on solid ground. They like a man that knows where he's going. I'm talking about myself, by the way. They like a man who plays the guitar like I do, and who sings like I do, and who writes like I do 1,000, 2,000, 500, 3,000, 4,000 articles all over the world. I'm a ghostwriter. I'm a musician. I'm a choreographer. I'm a producer. I'm a director. I'm a poet. I'm a spoken word artist. Women like those kind of men. They don't like boring men, and men, they shouldn't like boring women, but unfortunately, most men want their woman to stay home, or they want them to call them at work at 40 times a day. Where are you? Who are you with? Has your boss been by your cubicle today? Has he looked at your legs? Has he looked at your tits? Why, have you been talking to somebody else on the phone? I'm going to check your password when you get home. All this stuff is insane. This is insane, sheer insanity. If you have to worry about your mate for 1 second, just stay away from them. Don't get near them because you're sick. It may not be them sick, it's you. It's you the one that's sick. Because if you're all freaked out and pent up and worried and stressed out all the time about what they're doing, what are you doing? You're probably watching kitty porn or midget porn or smelling your own farts or something. You two faced, hypocritical bastards. You're all two faced. You're looking in the mirror, go look in the mirror at yourself and go, why am I like this? Why am I messing up every relationship I seem to have? Well, it's because you're so damn negative, and if you're negative, you're going to draw in the negative from the quantum field. You're going to produce whatever it is you think. You are, you think, so you are. You think, so you are. You manifest what you are thinking, Chad.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, a lot of guys want them dumb women because, oh, look at her body, look at this. Like they men and women both today. I'm not just gonna say that it's all men or all women, and I'm not gonna say it's all women that do this and all men that do it. But a lot of people in these relationships, they put sex first. They put sex before anything else. Anything like, oh, can they, they good caregiver, they good listener, they can I vibe with them? That's not the first thing people look at anymore. They oh, look at that rack. I want to play with them. I want to take her to bed or her. Oh my God, look at the size of that bulge in his pants. He's wearing blue jeans. Like, and that's what relationships anymore are based off of. They're just hypersexualized, and sex isn't everything in a relationship. And that's where everybody's at right now. Sex sells, and that's what they want. It's sad, but they'll never get nowhere. They'll always be the one that's lonely in a room by themselves, either hating themselves or so lonely they want to eat a bullet.
Yeah, let me say that sex is just wonderful. It is just fantastic, or it can be. It can be fantastic if both the man and the woman are open enough and experienced enough and mature enough to experiment with new things and new ideas and new concepts and new ways of pleasuring themselves and each other. It can be a magnificent, healthy thing to do. But most people, I would say the majority of people, I would go as far as to put myself on the line here tonight and say the majority of people do not have that completeness in their relationship. They do not have that level of maturity or comprehension or higher consciousness to get into these uh, non-monogamous relationships, and to have a relationship with another party, with another person, with another entity or another avatar. They just don't have what it takes to have the intercourse. And when I say intercourse, I'm using that word from a communications standpoint, a lexiconic standpoint, because when we meet, we have intercourse. We meet. Our energies meet, our auras meet, our electrical energies meet, and we're pulling from the quantum field. And some people are all cracked up. The blind leading the blind, I call it a lot of times. The blind over here comes and meets the blind, and now there's love between two idiots, misunderstanding between two idiots, and they're just doing this. Bang, 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 bang. I've seen this in so many relationships, just constant bang, 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 bang. And Marion and I look at these people and we just go, wow, look at that. What a waste of life. What a waste of time. What a waste of precious energy. My God, they could be just so mellow and so cool and so collected and so happy and so prosperous. You know, Marion and I could be happy living in a shack behind 7-Eleven down by a creek in a little makeshift tent, or we could be happy living in a $250 million mansion, and we've done both. We've lived in the ranch and we've had all the cattle and all the horses and all the lakes and all the wonderful boats and all the motorcycles and all the jet skis and all the wonderful stuff. And we've been broke as a stick horse with $35 in our pocket after bankruptcies times three because of my heart attacks, my cancer, my mom's cancer. We went down to nothing, driving down one way streets, crying, stinking, smelling, hadn't had a shower in 3 weeks, driven thousands and thousands and thousands of miles, 4 or 5 flats on the way, stopped at a McDonald's and looked at each other and said, "We should just kill each other right now. How can we do that? No, wait a minute. We can just die somehow." We were ready to die. I mean, we were literally ready to just die. And so we've been down to the bottom of the barrel. Some of you might say, "Oh, who do you think you are coming over here trying to tell us about relationships?" Let me tell you something. I'm the expert. I am the expert. Okay. Fuck Dr. Phil. Okay. Okay. Fuck Dr. Phil. You know, and Dr. Ruth, fuck Dr. Ruth and her big TED talk on purple dildos and all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you the truth here, folks. I've been down the road. I've had lots of relationships. I've been married several times. and I've been divorced several times, and I've had my share of kids. Some of them I don't even know where the hell they are. They're around the world somewhere. I've got a child in every port. I'm sure you've heard that song. You know, Mandy, you're a fine girl. What a good life it would be. Well, that's about, having a girl in every port, and I probably have a baby in some ports. And so I've been around, folks. You're talking to the old man here. You're talking to the veteran here. And I've been so poor and I've been so rich, Marion and I both. And we've stuck together 25 wonderful years through it all. And we did that because of maturity and higher consciousness and awareness. And we respect each other and we really don't try that hard. It's just happened. A lot of you might say, well, oh, that's just luck. That's just luck. You might be right. You might be 100% right. It might be luck. It might be a power that's beyond us that made it happen. It might be pre-planned, pre-scripted. Whatever it is, it's working perfectly. And I'm giving you this information tonight, and you should take it seriously because it could save your life. You guys that are young and haven't got out there yet and started spreading your seed around, and women who haven't got out there yet and started letting men take advantage of them, y'all need to stop and think about what you're doing, and you need to pre-plan and prepare for what's out there because what's out there is not a good situation. Let me tell you, Jen.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if people would see the situation that they're in right now, like if they say, "Oh no, look, I can't stand the world today," why would a couple even try to even mess around to bring in a relationship unless they absolutely think about that huge decision? Because that's a major decision to bring a child in the world today with how it is. And nobody looks at that. Like a lot of these decisions that relationships look at, there's no communication between them. It's just, oh, we'll just cross that road when it gets here, no, nothing. And it's sad. And the ones that suffer the most always are the children. And it's these women out there think that because their friends tell them, oh, well, you should go be with this man or you should go be with this man. And the men are like, oh, man, you didn't get that yet. You didn't get that yet. It's just everybody trying to beat their chest for a popularity contest opposed to actually finding what's true in somebody's heart, which is the sad part of reality right now.
Yeah, I would say it's a competition in many respects. I would say that it's a contest in many respects. I would say it's driven into the genes, the genetic code, this marriage thing. He was, short lived as it is. Marriage has not been something that has gone on for a long, long time. It's a very new phenomena, like Christianity is a very new phenomena. God, this idea of monotheism is just a few seconds old. One God thing is a few seconds old. A lot of our new cultures and faddish ideas and concepts are just a few seconds old. And marriage is one of those. And you folks don't need to get married. If we this show could do anything tonight, I would want you all to just release yourself from that fiction, that insanity, that insane, crazy idea of I have to get married, I have to get married. Oh my God, I have to get married. I've heard women say, "Oh, if I'm not married by 20, oh my God, I'm not going to be wanted. My tits are going to start hanging down, and my vagina is going to fall off, and my feet are going to start getting all those scabs on them." And I've heard women say this all the time. And I've heard guys, talk about, oh, I might get impotent. I might be impotent. I need to hurry up and get all the stuff I can. But, it's just all this crazy stuff. I'm impotent half the time. Marion doesn't give a shit. We don't have sex anyway. And, I wanted to bring that up tonight. We've been together 25 years and we probably had sex 35, 40, 50 times. I mean, it's no big deal. It's just no big deal. It's not about sex. When you're really in love and you're really compatible and you really fall into love with someone, it doesn't have to be about sex. So we have to have sex twice a week. We have to have sex 3 times a week. Let's set the clock. Let's set the alarm. Let's go to the calendar. Let's mark it. You don't have to do that. It's not about that. And if you're that sexy and if you're that horny, then go be a prostitute or go be a call boy or go to some tit bar and dance or go be a hooker. If you're that horny, okay, then don't, if you're that horny, don't look for a relationship long term unless you're marrying a nympho and you're a guy. And if you want an info, find an info. If you're that horny, you got to have sex 3 times a day. Just quit your job, go on food stamps, or sell drugs and have sex all day. Then go ahead. That's fine with me. I'm not going to put you down. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm just telling you what to do. Okay, Chad?
Yeah, I agree. It's like I don't see how people that, like you were saying, the nymphomaniacs could even think about being with somebody that's not a nympho. Because that person that's not a nympho is going to look at them and be like, you think I'm going to do that many times a day or this or that? And then they're going to hate the relationship automatically. It's just going to be more of a burden, more of a struggle on the relationship than anything. And I don't see, really anything what's going out having fun when you're young, but don't get in, as you said, don't get in committed relationships, go do your own thing. Like the old saying was, go sow your oats. They tell you, go sow your oats. Then when you're done sowing your oats, settle down and get married, but everybody wants to sow oats nonstop. And it's almost like they have sex so much in the beginning that sex becomes boring between them, which causes conflict.
I want to say at this point in time, you brought up something very interesting that just struck me. Um, I want to first of all welcome Chad here with us in the family, part of our family, part of our team. Now it's an honor to have him here, and I haven't had any doubts at all about him coming or about him being here. I'm just very happy. I will say it's a little different, when you have a third person, third wheel. It's a little different. There are some strains and stresses here and there, but they're minor. They're so minor you can't even really see them or feel them. They just kind of spit through your mind really fast, and that's normal for anybody, even Chad. Being here in a new place and everything, he has trepidations about this or that or the other. And I told him, just be at home, dude. Just be at home. He said, "Why? What about opening drawers? Just open them all. Look everything I have. Whatever. You know." And so that's the way it is. But I was going to say that men were built to spread their seed around. Now I know y'all have heard this before, and it's gone in one ear and out the other with most of you, but not all of you. Women, on the other hand, in my mind, now I could be wrong, are not genetically modified to be able to just go out and spread their little vajayjay around all the time. That's not their program. It's just not drilled into them. Bang, 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 bang. They're not out looking at every guy at Walmart that runs down the parking lot and has a beer belly and saggy ass and his butt crack showing. He's not going, oh, I gotta have him. I gotta have him too. I gotta have him too. I gotta have him too. I mean, if you're with somebody like that, you probably need to put them in behavioral health unit for a while. But I mean, men are made to spread their seed around. And ladies, if you don't get that through your head, you're not ever going to have a good relationship. And men, if you lie and you pretend that you're not looking at those other women and those other young girls and that other hot stuff, then you're lying to yourself. You're a hypocrite. You're two-faced, and you're doing your woman a disservice. You're doing everybody a disservice. And so this is a hot topic right here. This is a hot topic. This is controversial. Men are made to spread their seed around. And if you'll go back in the books and you'll look eons and eons and eons, even back beyond Gutenberg, you'll see that men have always spread their seed around. And if you go to the Middle East, this is a totally normal thing in most cases and places. Yes, women do have that tendency to be jealous. They have that tendency to be jealous, like men have that tendency to spread their seed around. So it's kind of an oxymoron there. But men do it. Men do it. Men do it. And I don't care how foxy you are. I don't care how sexy you are. I don't care how many of them little TikToks you turn me on with, spinning around in your panties in the kitchen. Your man's looking for something else. He's looking, he's scoping, he's got the radar out. That's the majority of men, okay? And don't think your man's not looking at these young girls and these older women when you go out to Walmart and stuff and you go out shopping and run around town. He's looking, he's lusting, he's thinking, he's having sex in his mind right there. He's raping every woman he sees. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. And a lot of women are like this. I mean, a multitude of women are like this. So why don't y'all just open up like Marion and I do? Why don't y'all just open up and be open about it? Marion and I are open about it. You know, we talk about it in the car if we're out. I'll say, man, look at that piece of ass. Oh, my God, look at that piece of ass. And she'll say, oh, look at that guy. He's kind of buff, and whatever. and we're just going on down the road. We're happy as lark. We all are going, oh, that's crazy, Kyler. That's crazy. You're insane. You're on drugs
I've
or
seen
something.
it. I've seen
You
it,
know,
people.
yeah,
Listen, I've
he's
seen it
yeah.
firsthand. They have an open relationship like you wouldn't believe. Like to be watching, hey, babe, look at this one. Oh, damn. Hey, look at this one, babe. Oh my. Like they're open about it. Like they know they're not dead. They know they got eyes and we look. That's what we do. Why would you punish somebody for looking? Like that makes no sense. Oh, don't look. Don't look. You better not look. All right, babe, I'm not looking. And that's what it is. Like it's just nonsense. It's amazing to watch what you two got.
Yeah, well, it's something that we want to spread around the world because we're tired of seeing all the hurt and pain and the suffering from divorce and all of the financial loss and violence and domestic violence and hate and anger and abuse, psychological abuse of the children when they have to go through two dummies meeting, the blind leading the blind, and two idiots meet and they have children, and those children usually become idiots. Some of them don't. And the gene is passed down, the memories are passed down, the indoctrination and programming is passed down, the bad behavior is passed down to the kids, and they become psychotic. And now we've got a whole bunch of psychotic people having psychotic people and psychotic people generation after generation. It's a curse. And this is what happens. I want y'all to think about that. Try to think about that. It's a curse. It's just handed down, 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 down. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Chad and I guess, are here trying to reprogram the world. We're trying to restructure, reorganize, realign everyone's thinking and trying to get them to think a little higher. Like, wow, they may have a point here. It sounds weird. It sounds taboo. It sounds crazy. It sounds insane. But it may be, wait a minute, there may be something to this.
Here's all I gotta say. When it comes to this, right? If you're having troubles in your relationship, doing the same stuff that you always do every single time, then why don't you one time try to practice what me and him's trying to do or trying to talk about? Because if you do, guess what? That might be what you've been doing wrong the whole time. The way you're doing things could have been wrong because you're putting stress on a relationship. You know, um, and that's the sad part. Why would like that's the true definition of insanity? Why do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result? Because it's never going to change. So if you don't change how things are and you don't learn how to, heighten your mind, you're going to be stuck in insanity the whole entire time, doing the same nonsense over and over and
Let me
expecting things
um
to be.
let me say this. I Before I met Mary, I had what was called commitment phobia. I did not want to commit to anything really, a job, anything. I was afraid of commitment, any kind of commitment. I was just terrified. I'm the wolf. I'm the lone wolf, man. I am. I've always been. I mean, I'm not. You can't confine me, man. I'll bite you. I'll bite you. I mean, and I didn't want to be committed to a relationship with a woman. I just thought that was the most horrible, horrible, horrible thing in the world. It was the most terrifying thing in the world to me. I just couldn't fathom it. I couldn't think about it. And, I had trouble with my relationships because of that. I literally had trouble. And it rubbed off on a lot of things. I'm not going to go into that part here, but I'll tell Chad later. But it affected my life in indirect ways, having that kind of attitude. And I didn't want to commit. And when I met Marion, for the first time, I met a girl who didn't make me feel like I had to commit. She wasn't demanding commitment. She wasn't demanding sacrifice. She wasn't laying down the law and laying down the rules and laying down this and laying down that. And, she wasn't doing that. She was just there and she was freewheeling, freestyle, happy, peaceful, just sweet, innocent. Some of you women are going to say, yeah, airhead, innocent. No, she was not airhead. See, I'm reading your mind. No, she was not. That was not it. She's just freestyle, free flowing, sweet, pure, wonderful essence. Okay. And I picked up on that. Okay. She made no demands on me whatsoever. She came and helped me take care of my mother for 14 years at home, committed herself to my mother 14 years at home. I've seen this woman. cleaning my mother's diarrhea that was in her hair all the way to in her toenails 2 times, 3 times a day. How many women would stay with a man that had a mother doing that all day? Tell me, I want all of you to look at me right now and tell me how many women would stay with a man who had that going on all the time and had to go in there and do all that over and over and over and over and over until both of us wanted to jump out of a window and shoot ourselves with a 45. And Marion went to the hospital one week to have a hysterectomy, and I got stuck with Mom, who I love so much. And Mom started having diarrhea, diarrhea, diarrhea. And I called Marion at the hospital. I said, "You got to get out of there. Pull those IVs out now and run home. Get a cab." I was like freaking out, man. Mom's shitting all over the place. Oh my God, it's in my hair now. I don't know what to do. Get me out of here. Marion was like, "I'm in the hospital, you idiot." But I'm trying to tell y'all some funny stuff. Get a little humor here. I mean, Marion made no demands on me, and she just fell right in, and there it was. Now let's switch over to Chad. Let's switch over to two guys. Chad didn't make any demands on me. I didn't make any demands on him when we met. We just started talking. We started having free flow of ideas and information. Uh, we started being transparent with each other. We were just like free flowing. Everything was great. There was no real bumps in the road. There was no real major arguments or disagreements or violence or anger, and it just flowed perfectly. We all say, "Well, that was an accident. That was just one of those things that happens every now and then." No, it's what happened. Okay, it's what happened, and I think it has to do with Chad's particular psychodemographic stratification, psychological, philosophical profile, and background, and mine coming together in some perfectly synchronized way, and the pieces just happen to fit together. Okay, that's what it's really about. I want y'all to listen to that because we do some complex shows, Chad and I, and this is getting rather complex. But those variables have these are variables, and they have to come. They're all like this, and all of a sudden you meet someone like Chad, I do, and it just kind of you feel the peace in that, and then it just closes up, and then you're praying.
Mhm.
It's just wonderful. It's just wonderful.
Now, me and Kyler, like when we're around each other, like there's times like we're starting to sync up. See, this is what's cool about when you listen, to stuff and you're actually open minded and you let stuff flow, like we're talking about, is like when he wants to smoke, right? Somehow, some way, he knows that I'm about to go smoke, or vice versa. We end up out the same spot around the same time. That's just like how it is. Like when you're around people, you start syncing up. This is why women that are really good friends, this is why their menstrual cycles sync up, because they're doing the same thing that me and Kyler's talking about. They just let the free flow go, they connect, and it's nice. Like you have a connection internally that a lot of people will never get with anybody.
Chad, I think I'm getting a little woody here, sweetheart.
uh, how could you guys not love this man? He's funny, man.
But anyway, this guy is something else. Yeah, he's something else. We are synchronized, and it's kind of scary. And I want to admit to Chad here on air. I wasn't going to tell him, but I had a thought. I think it was last night. I was laying in bed with Chad, and I had my leg over his shoulder. No, I'm kidding. I didn't. No, I sleep. We sleep in separate beds. We really do. We really do.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was thinking about Chad, and I thought, something's gonna come along and try to fuck our relationship up. Something is going to happen, and I've said this on air 1,000 times about 1,000 people, and it's happened every single time. And you say, "Well, you drew it from the quantum field, Kyle." That's why. Well, I'm not saying that this time. I'm not saying that this time. I'm just saying that there's forces out there for y'all women and men, and all you men and men, homosexuals, whatever. I love all of you, lesbians. I love all of you, pronouns. I love all of you. I love you. So I respect you. But I'm just saying, Chad and I have a really scary relationship. It's almost too good, and and something's gonna come along and try to fuck it up. Pardon my ukfay it up. Okay, ane ont way ute one at am just ne ein treute eBay airful K because of Facebook ace fay. Okay, ne? Okay, good. You got that? You speak pig Latin? Good. Now you do.
A little bit, yeah.
So I'm thinking last night, oh man, I would hate to see something mess this up. I would cry. I would be confused. I would be broken. I would be mixed up. I would be pissed off. I would be angry. I would be, I was thinking it last night, Chad, because you know how the world is. You know how all this direct energy shit is, weapons and all this modified technology and all this other stuff. And they don't want us to be together, and they don't want us to be out here talking about this kind of message to people. They don't want people getting any of this. And I'm thinking if they can take me and you apart, then it's over.
Yep.
And so they might try to do anything in their power to throw something in there, boy, that's going to be so hard wedged that me or you one are going to go, well, fuck you, man.
Yeah, but look, I mean, they've already started on us. Look what they did to my Facebook once we started syncing everything together. Look how quick they eliminated me out of the process. But yeah, it's all good. I mean, I know if something comes in between us, I know that it's a force that was sent to us like that. I know it's not really the truth. That's the good thing about being a little bit higher conscious than most people. I don't get stuck on the small little things that everybody does. Like, say, prime example, me and him could have an argument today, right? Probably 15, 20 minutes of us walking away from each other. Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him. We're probably out smoking a cigarette back together like nothing happened
Yeah,
because we know we can't hold shit against nobody. Like we're here
yeah,
for the now.
yeah.
I mean, that's how I see it.
Well, I'm sure, Chad, everyone here listening and who will be listening in post, as they always do months later, and over the months we get thousands of listens, I'm sure they would like to know something about your psychological profile that allows you to be able to sync up with people or want to sync up with people in a peaceful, comprehensive way and not get into a violent disagreements and arguments and not have all this drama. Where did you come from? Where did you originate from that allowed you to have this extra wisdom and this extra peace within you? That uh,
My story is actually a little strange compared to most people. When I was younger, I was trained to be a military member. I was groomed to be an officer. So the schools I went to, like I didn't go to regular high schools. I went to universities. I had a little bit higher education than most people. I had, this bank that had me go and do the youth military until I was 17, until I got arrested and all that changed. But I lived in poverty. I lived watching a lot of damage from relationships affect me. I come from a broken home. My parents split up when I was 14 months old. I seen how that all was affected. I was told most of my life my mom was dead until I was 18 or 17 years old. I found out my mom was alive. My whole family lied to me. It showed me a lot. When it comes to that. My aunt is also a behavior disorder teacher. I was surrounded by a lot of highly educated people, which was nice, which technically I should be fighting on the other side. But when you see how they groom you, the advantage is when you see how you was groomed and how you was indoctrinated, you're able to pull back and that changes your whole vibrations and flow in life. And I've done a lot of studies like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Anunnakis, the Sumerians. I've read all them old tablets and everything, and I've taken them, like to heart basically, and that's pretty much me.
well, that's amazing that this is manifested. What I'm seeing here in front of me now. It's amazing how you've come from that to this, and now here's your moment. As we'll talk about one night on the show, the now moment. Chad and I are going to do a special story in maybe a week or two on the now moment and try to teach you all a little bit about what Chad and I are learning about some things that are very interesting. A little hard to, Chad and I'll have to have private meetings about how to get this out because it's a little twisted, but we'll do it. My case, I grew up with a wonderful family, wonderful uncles and aunts and everything, and I lived a wonderful life. And a lot of people down me for that. A lot of people are jealous of me for that. A lot of people don't like that. And then, of course, I had this stepbrother who everybody on air already knows raped me when I was 14 and locked me in a casket and tried to kill me. He actually raped me with a loaded gun, which traumatized me terribly. I came out of there bleeding. I was ashamed to go to the hospital. I was ashamed to tell my parents. I was ashamed to tell my folks at the funeral home. I was ashamed um, of myself. I thought it was my fault. I'm talking like a woman who's raped. They blame it on themselves a lot of times, And I was thinking, well, you were with your scoutmaster and he tried to play with you, and so you're probably deserved it, and or you're a sinner, and God's trying to get you back from. This is back when I was going through all that religious stuff, and I was thinking, oh, this is just the devil, or this is just God punishing you. It's all this crazy stuff going through my head. And y'all are doing that. Y'all are digging this right now out there because you're digging it because you're doing it too. You're doing it too. You've done all this. You may not have been raped and locked in a casket. That's kind of a weird thing to do, but I mean, you've gone through other things, and and I was blaming myself for all that kind of shit. But I stabilized. I had to stabilize myself, man, because that shit'll drive you crazy, man. I'm looking at people right now. I'm listening to y'all. I hear you out there. It'll drive you fucking nuts, nuck and futs. I'm sorry. It'll drive you nuck and futs. I mean, it'll put you in the behavioral health unit. And there's times when you can't deal with it. You're like, I can't deal with this. But you just have to get through it, man. You just have to get through it. And a lot of people commit suicide. A lot of people go crazy. A lot of people get on alcohol, drugs to try to kill that feeling. And I didn't, thank goodness. And I'm I guess a miracle child or something. I mean, I didn't turn to alcohol to drown all my problems. I could have done that. Now I drank a little bit when we was on homicides, and I was cutting people down from rafters that were 20 years old, staring at me dead, with the goo goo hanging out of their mouth. Yeah, I've done a little drinking back in, but y'all would too. You need to drink a little something, or smoke a little something, or do something, because all them shit will drive you knucking futs. But I here I am today, stable. Yes, I take clonazepam. Okay, I took Xanax for a few years, but I have panic attacks. I have PTSD. Well, why wouldn't I have PTSD from all the shit I've gone through? Why wouldn't I have panic attacks from all the shit I've gone through? I've gone through cancer twice, really major. I don't want to get into the details of that, but anyway, thank goodness I'm here where I am in the now moment. This is my now moment, and this is where I am, and thank goodness for this moment, and thank goodness for Chad's moment and Mary's moment, and thank goodness for all of you out there's moment. If you're having a peaceful, harmonic, balanced, synchronistic moment, and you're increasing in your intuitiveness and your discernment and your depth of understanding and your transparency and your comprehension listening to this show tonight, this is a good show. This is the kind of material people need to be putting out that are not in most cases. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of wonderful hosts out there. But Chad and I, we're kind of swinging away from. We're not getting away from it completely, but we're kind of swinging away from the geopolitical jazz thing because it's driving both Chad and I nuts. We're like, when's the bomb coming? What are we waiting for? Everybody is. All my people in geopolitics are going. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm just tired of talking about it. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And we're kind of like that. So we're moving to kind of more holistic, naturopathic, esoteric, ontological kind of philosophical kind of things a little bit. You know what I mean? Right, Jen?
Oh yeah. And let me tell you, I got a lot of studying to do. This man's got so much wisdom. This man understands it. He could talk to anybody within 20 minutes. He'll have you actually seeing different than what you really do. And it's not because he hypnotized you. He tells you how it really is. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He shows you where your error is, and the thought process that you have. And once he shows you what that error is, it clicks right in. It's like you're like, oh my god, it just
Oh
clicks,
my
and it's just
god!
like an epiphany in your head. It's like it's amazing, people, and it starts making sense when he says he's Neil and he sees through this matrix. That's what I'm starting to see a little bit of it too. I'm starting to see little numbers starting to slowly come down metaphorically in front of me. Like it's an amazing thing.
It rubs off on people. If you're serious about learning and you're serious about changing and serious about coming into this new way of thinking, it rubs off on you when you're around people. Remember what we talked about yesterday? If you hang around with losers, you'll be a loser. If you hang around with drug addicts, you'll be a drug addict. If you hang around with imbeciles, you'll be an imbecile. If you hang around with thieves, you'll go rob banks. I mean, what is it? I mean, that's just the way it is. The birds of a feather flock together. There's something to that saying. I mean, there is, you know. If you hang around with rich, wealthy, comprehensive, and intellectual, powerful people, you'll be comprehensive and wealthy and intellectual and well connected. So it's up to you. It's up to you. Who do you want to hang around with? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go in your life? What do you want to accomplish in your life? You've got to be into the quantum field. You've got to get into the higher way of thinking to be able to manifest these things and bring them about in your life. We were talking earlier before the show about people thinking they have to go out and earn a living. I have to earn a living. My God, it's just so depressing. The government, you have to work 5 months, 5.5 months before you get a check. Why would anybody want to do that? I'd rather be on food stamps and smoke crack than to work 5.5 months out of the year to start getting a paycheck. That's the way it is. Why would anybody want to do that? There's got to be a better way. I mean, and so you learn to create money. You learn to create currency, create currency. And Marion and I did that. Marion and I have had a couple of $1 million. And then our bankruptcies wiped all that out. But Marion and I have been on that scale of fairly, that's $2 million is not, it's poverty level actually. But we've had a couple of $1 million, but we lost it all, and we were poor before we had it. So we've had it all. We've been every which way. Some people were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, so they've never known what it was like to want for anything or be hungry, or not know where your next meal's coming from or your next drink of water even is coming from. They've never been there. They've never suffered in any way, and Marion and I have. So it's really good that we've had all these multidimensional experiences. Okay, and I think Chad, you would you like to speak to that? I mean, you haven't been rich like we have, right? Not rich, but $2 million is poverty level. But I don't think you've been that wealthy. But you've had the ups and downs, right? You've been up. I know you've been up, and you've been down.
Oh yeah.
So
Um,
how to
I,
talk to
I'm
people.
my down. I was a dope fiend. A lot of people don't know that about me. I used to play around with heroin. I've been to the bottom of the bottom. People. I've owned my own businesses. I used to work for a company that made, just in roofing alone, I would make my business anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000 a month by putting roofs on buildings. Like it's I've been in my ups and downs, and let me tell you, you can be at your highest point and be taken out from you in a heartbeat. And that's the scary part. And if you don't know what it's like to be poor, you're in a lot of trouble.
It's really funny. We did a study up here in the Northwest, and we found with our 6,000 plus homeless people, the people in charge of making policy and legislation and coming up with statutes and things concerning the homeless and assistance programs, they've never wanted for anything in their life. They've never gone without in their life. And my question is, how can anybody make decisions for these crackheads and heroin addicts and opium addicts and alcoholics and homeless people who are down on their luck and women that are being beat up by their drunk husbands that don't deserve it? How can these legislators make any kind of decent decisions at all when they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they've never had to want for anything? Chad, can you figure out why they have these people doing this?
Either like, well, I mean, to start off, I mean, they wouldn't let a poor person, run their life or their decision of what they'll do with their money, and that should show you something. But yeah, they do it to keep us down because they have no clue what it's like to be in our shoes. Just like I can't tell you how to fly a plane like you. I can't say, hey, I fly a plane like him. I can't do that. So I can't tell him how to fly a plane, and that's what's going on. Just, and it's all done for design to control us to make sure that we falter so they benefit.
So you might be saying that it's somewhat deliberate and somewhat just built into the system, natural. For, yeah,
Yes.
both.
By ignorance,
Yeah.
by people's ignorance.
But there is some conspiracy going on also where they're wanting to deliberately keep people pinned down and enslaved and in bondage to the cabal so they won't rise up against the machine, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so if they can keep y'all down, and keep y'all as the wage earners, they call them, as Marx calls you, The wage earner, the wage earner, the wage earner. The capitalist over the wage earner, the bourgeois over the proletariat. The bourgeois is up here, the proletariat is up here. The fiefdom, the kingdom, the king, the queen, the serfs. That's the way it's always been. That tier levels, see, and that's the way it's always been. Okay, and there's a lot of people in society today that want this balance of social compact. They want everything to be equal and equitable, and they want everyone to benefit from all of the bounties that are coming in equally. And that's commun. That was originally communism. Okay, socialism. Okay, but then that got twisted around by a bunch of people. Everybody always comes in and twists everything around. You have something good going on, like anarchy, for instance. I saw a meme yesterday of a guy holding a firebomb with a mask on, and he was getting ready to firebomb a electric company of some kind. And then the meme on the bottom, it said, top to top, it said anarchist. And then at the bottom it said anarchist. And there was a lady feeding, a guy was feeding his chickens out at the barn, and mother was milking the cow. So you see, it's all in perception. You can say an anarchist. People say, "Oh, an anarchist! Oh, they're terrorists! Oh my God, those are those people that are going to come in and bomb your house, bomb your city, and tear up all your property." And Black Lives Matter people and all them Antifa people. No, 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 no. You're mixed up. It's all syntax. It's all in your perception. A true anarchist is, in my opinion, the kind of anarchist that I am. Is I'm out feeding my chickens and I'm milking my goats and the cows and I'm getting the vegetables out of my garden and I'm cooking things up and canning and I'm preparing and I'm self sufficient. That's what anarchists want in my category. They want
Same here.
freedom. They want liberty. They want to be left alone. They don't want to be censored. You know what I mean? They want to be individuals on the land. They don't want to be under contract. They don't want to be under oppressive government. Okay. They don't want a centralized, massive centralized government that's overblown like ours is. They want limited government, limited terms for senators and legislators. That's what an anarchist is. Okay. So let's get that straight.
Yeah,
And
people.
anarchy, in my category of anarchy, does have a little bit to do with socialism too, but we'll get into that some other time. Go ahead, John.
But yeah, like today, people don't understand even what the word anarchy means at all. But yet they're in the streets screaming, stop the government, overthrow the government. We don't want government oppression. Like you guys are screaming the same thing and being the same exact word that you thought you were, but oh, you're being righteous. Well, true anarchy is righteousness. True anarchy is pulling away from the government, be self sustaining, being able to help out your own community, not having the government come in, take care of your community, nothing. We build our own infrastructure. We don't need the government coming in. Oh, do you need help? Now get out of here. That's true anarchy. We believe in protecting our own. But people think true anarchy is crime everywhere, crime everywhere. Like that just don't make sense. That's not anarchy. That's what would you say? Downfall of society.
Yeah, that's just the definition of insanity is throwing the same old firebomb at the same old building all the time and getting the same old fire. I mean, it's just insanity. That's the kind of anarchy I don't want to participate in. It's more like Antifa and Black Lives Matter or the skinhead movement or the neo-Nazi movement or some of those KKK guys, who want to go out and kill all the black folks and the homosexuals and all the Jews and all that kind of crazy stuff. We have to deal with this on this show constantly. People coming on with these weird ideas, these twisted ideas, and Chad and I will listen to anyone, or I will, and I'm sure Chad will too. We'll listen to anyone to a point. But then when it's time for us to give our opinion, we surely will, and we may just shoot them down full of bullets, and they may end up just getting blocked or turned off because some people are just violent. They're trolls. They're angry. They're pissed off. They're mad. They're not going to ever change. They're not going to ever listen to anything you have to say. They have a one track mind. They're stubborn. They're cognitively dissident. They've already made up their mind. They're set in stone. And there's people like that everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And that's why I said there's only a handful of people in this world that are doing good things. And then there's only a handful in the world like me who have studied these Eastern philosophies for 20 years plus, and who have learned things that the majority of the population will never touch. They may see the tip of the iceberg, but they'll never see what's underneath it. And so that's very important to understand. Study, concentration, practice, commitment, focus, ingenuity, critical thinking. All of these things are important. Passion, energy, understanding frequency and balance and harmonics. All of these things are important in the process of increasing your consciousness and your awareness and your ability to be able to communicate with all kinds of beings in your environment, both internal and external environment. So it is a matter of education. It is a matter of training. It is a matter of practice. It is a matter of learning. And some people say, oh, no, no, it's not education. The education system is all messed up. Well, see, there you go again. You're just stuck on dumb. You're generalizing on everything. You know, oh, the education system sucks. The education system is horrible. The education system. I'm just using the word education. Don't get all freaked out. Huh. Just don't get all freaked out. Just calm down. Everybody chill.
It's okay. We're not
Yeah, it's
screaming
okay.
bomb on a plane. You're okay.
Right, right, right. We can use words that not everyone agrees on right away, but then we can tell our story as to what we mean by that word, you know. Or Chad and I'll sometimes say, "Oh, we're gonna just talk like a bunch of hicks out here on the porch this evening and have a good time." And then other times we'll be out there like two PhDs talking, you know, and it'll be totally different. And then sometimes we'll just get tired of that and we'll just go, "What the fuck did you say?"
Oh my
Yeah, we'll just start
god.
talking. Oh my god! So we can be all things to all people, and that's the way. When you're all things to all people, that's when you've really reached that point. When you can be all things to all people, that sounds kind of crazy to some of you, but I can deal with anybody. I mean, I'm not going to say it all here because some of you might get mad, but I can deal with any kind of person. It doesn't matter what they've done, what kind of crime they've committed, how perverted, how weird, how twisted, how dangerous, how whatever they are, wherever they come from, I can deal with them. I can talk to them. I have done it in my profession as a paramedic and working with around the police and the homicide division and going out on crisis calls. I have dealt with every kind of person imaginable, and I've dealt with some of the most dangerous individuals in the world that should be in supermax, and I've made friends with them. That's just me because I can be all things to all people. Chad?
Yeah, I agree. Everybody just needs to quit putting titles on people and judging everybody so quickly. Even if they've done something, like they're still a human, like they still deserve at least a little bit of respect out of you. And I mean, even if the little bit of respect is being human to them, you know what I mean? Like that's a big thing because a lot of people don't even know what it's like for somebody to be human towards them. And when people realize that there are people out there that are saving lives that actually have a pretty dirty history, and then you realize these people are saving your lives, you'll change the outlook on, what you think about people and always judging people because these people honestly shouldn't even be a part of society backed on what morals people have today. And that's the sad part. These people will be more willing to help you than the best moral people on the earth.
Well, in our situation, homeless people and drug addicts have helped Marion and I more than any of these wealthy people have ever helped us. If that tells y'all anything at all about people, you may have to think about that for a minute. But I've heard many of you say that. I've heard many of my friends have said that. Marion and I have been helped by people that didn't have a dime. They had the last dollar, they'd give it to us. They had two socks, they'd give us one sock if we were cold for one of her hands to warm. I've seen it happen. I mean, I've literally seen people with nothing help us when we were down. And you know, you when Marion and I were almost suicidal there in that little town in Wyoming, and we were at that McDonald's, and people were walking past us, pointing at us, making fun, and we were ready to die. We had a homeless man lift us up out of that and bring us up and make us want to live and make us want to travel on. Everybody else was pointing at us. Look at those homeless people. Look at those crazy people. And so you see, it's amazing philosophy. It's amazing philosophy because those homeless people, they know what you're going through. They know what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? And they can spot other people. They can look in their eyes and they can tell what you're going through. And I'm not saying every homeless people is okay. I hear y'all. I hear you. I hear things through the airwaves. I hear y'all. I hear y'all saying, "Well, not everybody's like that. Not all homeless people are like that. Some of them just want to stab you and take your money." Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. But I'm talking. I'm not talking about every homeless person. I'm talking about a lot of homeless people are just angels. They're angels. They're angels, and that's amazing. When you go out, I would trust several homeless people I know before I would trust several millionaires I know. What about you, Chad?
I agree with that. Some of these people have the heart of gold. They really do. They actually get it. They understand what it's like, life on life's terms, and they understand how to treat people as individuals. Because a lot of these people have been broken and beat on so much that they don't want another person to go through the pain and the anguish that they already are. That's a powerful thing, that they'd rather look at another person not to suffer, even though they're suffering. I mean, I've watched literally homeless people pick up money, like watch a wallet drop in front of them. Could have easily put it in their pocket and had a stack full of cash, but literally hand the money back to the people. Like, here you go. I mean, a millionaire wouldn't do that.
No, they'd probably stick it in their pocket and look around, see who's looking, and run off. But yeah, I've seen that too. A lot of times, I've seen homeless people be very honest. Um, we have way, way, way too much hunger in this country, malnutrition. We have way too many homeless people in this country to be as rich and wealthy and powerful and connected as we are. And supposedly we're this grand superpower and so forth. And we have all of these homeless veterans, we have all of these homeless senior citizens, we have all of these homeless children in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of homeless children that are being sucked into the sex trade and brought into horrible situations, terrible situations. And that is a scary thing. That is a very scary thing when we have a country like this. Where are all of our people at? What are they doing? What are our people doing? I know what we're doing here. We're doing the best we can to reach out to people as much as we can. And yeah, they're playing on their cell phones and they're all diverted and their attention is diverted and they're self-grandizing and they're self-absorbed and all that kind of stuff and greedy and selfish and that's the problem. That's the problem is we're not really geared toward let's go out and help these poor individuals who are hungry and need clothes and underwear and socks and fanny packs and a tent to keep them dry when it's raining. Marion and I have done that kind of work for 25 years, and we're tired. We're broken. We're we're broken. We are broken. It will break you. It will break you. Literally break you. And there is a time when people need to retire from the depth of assistance that we were giving. There's a time when people need to settle down and take care of themselves, and that's where Marion and I are now. We need to take time to heal ourselves and take care of ourselves. And Chad is here to help us do that. And we're still running our missions. We're still doing our special programs and projects. We're still doing our outreach. We're still doing the best we can. And we're still got Marion's stores trying to get out there open. We've still got the Center for Living, Loving, and Learning. We've still got the disaster team going. But we got to take care of ourselves because I don't feel good right now. I may not live very much longer. I'm 66. I've been very sick. Let's just say I've been very sick. And Mary's a lot younger than I am by 20 years. And I damn sure don't want to leave her here in this nasty, insane, corrupt, dysfunctional place by herself. And I'm trying to live as long as I possibly can. She cries every day thinking I'm going to pass away any night here. She's going to wake up and find me over here stiff as a board like a couple of our friends did. Their wives woke up and found them dead. I've ran so many paramedic calls where their wife ran to the front door and said, "My husband's in there and he's not talking to me. I can't wake him up." And I'd say, "Tell her, ma'am, he's been dead since he went to sleep last night, my dear." And she'd be like, "We've been married 40 years. Oh my God. But there's a time to live and there's a time to die. There's a season for everything. And somehow we have to come to grips with that, folks. Somehow we have to come to grips with that. And if all of you would understand your mortality and get in touch with your mortality and the finiteness of this existence that you're living right now, you would be more apt to be kind to one another and love one another and help one another and reach out to one another. Those of you who have this idea that you're going to live forever and that you're bulletproof and that you're young and by God, you don't have death going through your mind because you got a long time to go. I've seen people be hit by a car that same day. I've seen people be shot in the back of the head that same hour. I've seen people slit their wrists the next morning. Yeah, you listen to me because I'm telling you the truth. You don't know when you're going to go, and you don't know when you're going to take your own life, and you don't know when something's going to snap up here. So y'all better be thinking about what I'm saying. And most of you aren't. You won't listen, but you better be thinking about what I'm saying because you'll be a lot lovelier and a lot sweeter and a lot more discerning and a lot more helpful and a lot more productive in your community and your family and with your friends and your coworkers if you'll think about just how short your little pinky life is. Chad.
People got to realize that tomorrow's never promised. And if you live by that and you see and you understand what tomorrow's never promised, then you'll understand you need to be kind. You need to help out because what if and this is how I look at it when it comes to being nice. What if your one act of kindness to that one person, what if you saved their lives? What if that saved their life? Because everybody was going, horrible, I'm just going to kill myself. Nobody likes me. Nobody does. And then you're nice to that person. You give them something to eat or you talk to them or whatever. You could really save that person's life just by being courteous to somebody. And people don't realize how significant that really is when it comes to somebody that's in these lower levels, just kindness. And it's a sad way to go if you go out hating everything because you'll never know what true happiness was.
One smile can be passed on to save 1,000 lives, is what I always say. And if you think about what I'm saying very carefully, you'll understand what I just said. One smile can light up a person's life, and they'll smile to someone else, and someone else will smile to someone else. And you never know what that one smile, how far it's going to go. It's amazing. It's amazing. It is literally amazing to think about what kindness does exponentially.
Yeah, it's like you was telling me about the butterfly. When a butterfly flaps its wing, like down in Texas, it can feel it up in Canada. And I was like, well, it couldn't be that big. And then you explained it to me. And it's like, wait a second, wait, that one little flap could cause basically like 30, 40 mile an hour winds in Canada by the
Hmm.
time it's going through its cycle. And this is what
Hmm.
he's trying to say, that one smile could save 1,000 lives because
Hmm.
your smile might not save that person's life, but that person smiling to this person indirectly will actually receive to the person that needs that smile to save their life. That's how
I'll
the,
give
the,
you a,
the energy field works.
I'll give you kind of a weird example is these shows that Chad and I do. We might not have hardly any live listeners at all. We might feel like, oh, we're just not doing any good, and we're just sad. And nobody likes us. But I know the difference because I've been doing this 20 years almost, 19 years, 20, 20, whatever. And I know that this show will exponentially grow. The goodness that comes out of this show will reach thousands of people over the next few months. The goodness that comes out of this show. It's going to pass on and on and on and on and on, and we're going to change lives. Something that was said here is going to keep somebody from committing suicide. Something that was said here is going to commit somebody to go and give somebody money and pay somebody's bills. Um, what is, just a minute, please, y'all. Where? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm looking at some secret analytics that not even Chad's able to see yet, and I'll say that on air publicly because we're into a private database that we're not supposed to have. Our numbers are skyrocketing, Chad.
Hell
People are
yeah.
talking. People are talking about us. They're talking about what we're doing to save lives right now. What we're doing to them. Wow.
That's
You see what I'm
powerful.
saying? You see what I'm saying, folks? Everything that comes out of this can change one person or two persons' lives. And if that's all it does, then that's wonderful. If that's all it does, that's wonderful. It might change 1,000 people's lives. And over the next 3 years, it might change 10,000 people's lives. Now, some of you might say, well, that's a little far fetched. No, it's not. It's not far fetched at all. This is catching. Positive vibrations and higher frequencies are catching, man. They're powerful. They're really powerful, man. When we're reaching out there into that quantum realm, that quantum field, and pulling the goodness in and manifesting all of these wonderful things, it passes on and it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. Now, will it grow enough to overcome the Cosa Nostra, the syndicate, the cabal, the deep state? No, no, it won't. But it'll help a lot of people in the process, and that's all we're here to do. I'm not here to save the world anymore. I was when I was 40, 35, 40. I thought I was going to save the whole world. Okay, I was just going to be the savior of the whole world. But I know now that I can't do that. I can only save myself and a few people around me. And if I can do that and pass information on here that's going to travel out in the ether and going to travel out there into that unknown void that we don't really understand or comprehend. But what I do know is that these positive thoughts and positive words and positive actions will exponentially grow and heal and protect and create harmony and balance and synchronicity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like for people to even sit there and think, like, because when I was younger doing this, 5 years ago when I first started, I was going to take on the world. I was taking on the deep state. I'm gonna take over the world. And I'm gonna run it in the perfect place. I'm gonna save the world. That's not a feasible thing, for one person to do. The only thing that everybody needs to look at is save your loved ones. Save your loved ones, your friends, your family. This is who you're going to be able to save. We got to think realistically, because if you don't think realistically, you're never going to get this. You're only going to be able to save maybe a handful of people each person. But if we get a whole, like a several handful of people that's doing this, we could save a lot more lives that way. And this is what we're talking about. You got to be kind to people. You got to help out. You got to save the people around you. You know.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. And I will admit that it's hard. It's difficult whenever you're going through tough times yourself and you're broken and you're depressed and you're stressed out and you're really having a difficult time. It's hard to be all goody, goody, goody and reach out and find people that need help. I admit that. Okay. I've been there. But sometimes it helps to lift you up a little and helps you lift out of your own situation if you'll go out and find somebody worse off than you are. There's always somebody worse off than you are. I guarantee you that. You might think you've got it real bad right now, but there's always somebody that's 10 times worse off than you are out there. Okay. And I'm not saying go out and find them and help them. I'm just saying that think about it. You know, like right now we're living in the command center and we're living in one of the most peaceful places as far as I'm concerned on earth to me. We're living in a very protected area. We have 1,000-foot mountains all around us, surrounding us completely. We're surrounded by mountains and protected. We're in the valley. We're in the forest. We're in the national forest. We're in an unincorporated area. I never tell y'all where I am, never have, never will. But we're in some undisclosed location in the far Pacific Northwest near the Pacific Ocean. And it's peaceful. It's very, very, very calming here. And this is where I wanted to be before I got any older, and I brought that out of the quantum field. And we're going to be talking more about that on other shows. But you have to visualize it, and you have to not only believe it, but conceive it and transform it, and see it transformed, and see it come into being. And you have to actualize it. Otherwise, it's not going to be anything but a passing thought, like passing gas. You have to visualize it as already being real. And the Bible says a lot about that, by the way. And I'm not a big Bible believer or thumper, but the Bible says a lot about faith without works is dead. Believe thou shalt conceive. Go forward and love thy neighbor and all that kind of stuff. Knock and the door shall be opened. All of these are metaphors for the quantum field. Now, some of you may say, "Oh, you're crazy. That's all." No, it is. Trust me. Knock and the door shall be open. You have to knock, and then the door shall be open. Knocking is a metaphor for action, for actualization and visualization. Okay, and it's a metaphor for bringing forth that manifestation that you desire. Okay, walking into it. You have to walk into it. I've talked to Marion about this for years, and it's impossible for some people to get. Impossible. Some people are so programmed and so indoctrinated and so stuck in the doo doo and so trapped in the shit that they cannot change. They will not change. They're so bitter. They're just so bitter and so angry. They will not change, right, Chad?
Oh no, because they let the anger consume them. They let the rage take a part of them, and they don't realize the reason why they're raging is because nobody's being nice to them. And that's the sad part. They're mad because nobody's being nice or treating them how they think they should be treated. So they're angry at everybody. Well, you being angry at everybody is only going to bring more anger your way. That's how the quantum field works. And once people start learning how to gain from the quantum field and start being calm and looking at the other person as, a vessel that's moving through the quantum field just like you automatically should have respect for that, because the chances of us being created here are like astronomical. You know what I mean? Like people don't realize that. So you should be thankful to see something else moving here, because I don't know, because if nobody else was here, it would be a pretty bare nothing life.
Yeah, it would be. The diversity that's here, we will be talking about how that works over the next few shows, also, how that diversity comes about and why that diversity is, and how you can find perfection in chaos and method to the madness in the matrix. Why that has to be differential. I'll get into some physics equations as to why there has to be differential in order to have something rather than nothing. There has to be differential. The whole of existence is about differential. That's all it's about is differential. If you didn't have any differential, there wouldn't be anything. There wouldn't be any consciousness of any kind if there wasn't any differential. And some of you know what I mean that study physics. But we'll get into differential in more depth on the other shows and teach about how differential creates cognitivity and how cognitivity creates imagination, and imagination creates calculation and analysis and visualization, and then manifestation comes through that all the way back from differential. So we'll talk about source, and we'll have all these people calling up, probably calling us demons and devils, and but we'll talk about source, and we'll talk about source revealing itself within itself, and we'll talk about the mirror reflection of source, the manifestation of imagination of source. It's very important to understand if there wasn't any differential, there would be no A, B, C, X, Y, Z axis in the cosine, sine, cosine, sine. There would be no sine or cosine without the differential of the axis and then the moon within the sine cosine line. There would be no, see, there would be nothing, no calculations, nothing to talk about, right? There has to
Nope.
be an XY axis. And if everything started from an X, there had to be a Y somewhere in there, okay? And that Y might be us because this is differential. So, anyway, um, we're going to be doing a lot of shows here, folks, and I wanted y'all to look at the screen there. We've got Northwest Police Fire Emergency Medical Disaster Respite Team that we run here in the Northwest, and I don't want y'all to get all tripped out like you do and be sending me nasty emails like you always do about I don't like the police, I don't like the police. Y'all get stuck on one word and you just go crazy all night long. We're not the police, okay? Uh, Well, we are, but I'm not going to get into that. But that's too complicated. Y'all wouldn't understand right now. But you're all police. But I can't. I'll explain that on another show. Um, we are first responders who respond to all emergencies and all disasters where all of these first responders reside and respond to. We are a supply, material, and equipment resupply unit and assistance unit for traffic assistance, for trauma assistance, and for airway and breathing assistance equipment, and to resupply. And we're also an evacuation unit. We also handle the crisis team who can come in here and do their interviews if something terrible has happened and be in private. Chad and I are acting as security and to keep everybody away on different situations that come in. So we do a lot of things. We're building this, and we need $75,000 right now to really get what we need for the disaster team. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and there again, I don't want to hear all of you. Uh, I don't want to hear all of you know-it-alls telling me how demonic the nonprofits are and how it's all part of the cabal. And I get so tired of this stuff. I just get so tired of it. I could just shoot myself. Some of you have some of the most stupid ideas about things, and so we are a charitable organization. Okay, and that offers people a tax write-off if they give us money. This started back before World War II, actually, but during World War II, the Depression era, the government decided to issue these certifications so that people could assist the government. They were so overrun, the government didn't know what to do. They were too busy out killing people and extorting people and raping people and molesting people and taking people's money and taking their resources and stealing their diamonds and gold and silver, that they decided to let Chad and I and Mary come back here and help a bunch of folks. They said, hell, we don't have time to help anybody, so we'll just give this free certification to them and let them be the do gooders. That's exactly what it is. I'm sorry. I'm telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. That's exactly what it is. And I'll admit, nonprofits, some of them have turned into total crap. I mean, we could put $1 billion in the bank. We could put $10 billion in the bank. We could put $100 billion in the bank under this nonprofit we have. But it's not the money you have in the bank. Is, are you doing your mission? Are you being responsible with that money? Are you doing what you said you were going to do in your mission statement with that money? That's the key. Or are you laundering it through two or three different trusts and three or four different LLCs and five or six different corporations? And are you, twisting everything around like they are in Ukraine and all of these other countries? That's what they do. They work with the International Monetary Fund, and they work with um, the Bank of International Settlements, which I'm very familiar with and have worked with before. They work with the United Nations and the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, and they work with nonprofits, and they also work with non-governmental organizations, which we can slip into here, Chad and I, Mary. Non-governmental organization is just a teeny, teeny, teeny bit different than a 501c3 or a 501c4 or C5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12, all the way up the ladder. You can look it up yourself. Each 503 level is something different. Like, 501c6, you can politicize. We could run presidents in our station, and we could do campaigns and things like that. Under our C3, we're not allowed to get involved in politics or any of that. We're not allowed to be partisan or bipartisan or talk about any of that. Although we do and other people do, you just have to be careful. You can't overdo it because you'll get in trouble. The IRS sitting out looking at people with guns loaded, waiting for them to say something political that have a 501c3, but you just have to be careful how you do it. Preachers do it all the time. I mean, preachers are up in the pulpit preaching about the Republicans and Democrats tonight, and they got a 501c3, but you just got to know how to do it. But we need support, y'all. We do. We need support. And if you want to give us support, you can send your donation to $ on the keyboard. Just hit $ and then lowercase Mary Pound, MARYPOUND 77. That's $ lowercase Mary, Mary, pound, POUND 77. Real simple. And Chad and I will be on here Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time with bells on. And we will do some really exciting, informative, powerful shows that I hope y'all fully enjoy. And then on the weekends, Chad and I have our own individual stuff going on, both working the missions and doing the outreach. And then we also have our own individual shows that we do on many platforms that I'm not going to mention here tonight. I will put those up as Chad gets deeper into my universe, and he has his own. He's expanding his program, his shows, and that'll probably be done in the next week or so. And then we'll be putting his and I up on the bottom here, where you can go listen to his and mine on the weekends. We do individual stuff, but it's really kind of cool. And then eventually, Chad and I are going to have a members only Patreon section, and it's going to be for members only, and
And
that will
that's where
be
we get
special shows.
exclusive information,
Yeah,
you know. But I want to say
that's
before we get
really
off
cool.
that topic, remember people, we're talking about the disaster teams. When things get rough, your military is going home, your EMTs are going home, your firefighters are going home, that police officer is going home, everybody's going home. Guess who's not going home? We're not planning on going home. We're the ones planning on that's going to be trying to help as many people out there as possible. While everybody's at home, oh my God, the world's ending. We're going to be out trying to save the people that need saving. That's our plan.
Yeah, Chad's right. When the SHTF event happens, which it's probably getting ready to, and I mean the big one is probably getting ready to happen. You won't have 911 to call. You'll just get a busy signal or a blank sound. Your water will not run in the sink or the bathtub. Your kids won't be taking a shower, and you won't be warming up the beans on the stove, and you won't be turning on the lights. And all of your cell phones will be dead and gone, and your computers and your laptops and all of your Alexa and your smart watches and all of your other smart electronics will be dead, 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 including your vehicle. If it has a computer chip in it, you won't be able to drive it anywhere. And even if you could, all of the stations run on, guess what? Electricity. And so you won't be able to get any petrol. So, ladies and gentlemen, you'll basically be set back to the 17th century if an electromagnetic pulse hits or a solar cycle happens to head this way. About 8 minutes later, bang, the grid goes down, and there's no electric, no water, no gas, no phones, no nothing, no petrol. This is why I'm encouraging all of you to get a bug in bag and prepare the house, prepare a safe room. Talked about this last night, or I think it was last night, or Friday night. I think we talked about this. Prepare your home, prepare your window locks, prepare your door locks, get a double locks for your doors, front and back. Prepare your window locks, get them locked. Have a safe room, have a bug out just in case you have to leave the area. Have bug out bags ready for you and the kids, and get with some neighbors if you can. But be careful who you get with. Make sure you've known them for several years and you trust them, because some people, well, number one, some people are covert preppers. Um, they don't want you to know they're preppers, and you'll never find out. And there are other preppers who don't mind you knowing that they're preppers. And so you have to kind of feel your way through this. And when times get rough and people start starving and getting really thirsty, they will come and raid your house, and they will kill you and your kids, and they will take everything you have. And I know that sounds horrible, scary to some people, traumatizing to others, triggering to others, but it's true. So you need to be prepared, locked and loaded, and ready for those dangerous, deadly situations that could be coming just around the corner. I have information that says there's probably something really major is going to happen in the next few months. Now, if you're not afraid of the nukes, if that doesn't come, the low grade nukes, and if it's not kinetic, totally kinetic that we're looking at, you're definitely going to have to worry about the digital passport and the social credit score and the central bank digital surveillance currency that's coming out in July, August, September, because all of your fiat currency is going away. So I would advise all of you to buy as much silver as you possibly can right now. It has already gone up double in the last 3 months, and it's going to go to $1,000 an ounce. Yes, you heard it here. Silver is going to $1,000 an ounce. Mark my word, it's at $47 an ounce right now. 48. It's going to $1,000 an ounce. So I would advise all of you who've got any extra money to go out and buy $1,000 or two's worth of silver, because it will be the only big thing that you can barter and save your life of you and your children in the event of an emergency. People will take silver and go away. So I don't always trust them to go away. Keep the sights locked on them, but that silver will help them to go away. Maybe a carton of cigarettes and a bottle of whiskey. Always have something to barter. Chad?
Yeah, people just don't understand when it comes down. People are going to be trying to feed their families, and anybody that has children, no, you'll do anything for your children. So imagine what you're going to do for your children is the same thing everybody else is going to be doing for their children. It doesn't matter who's in their way; they're going to take it. But as he's saying, always have a barter. Like if you have barter, like medication, like if you can get antibiotics, or you can get bandages, or anything can be a good barter. And that's what he's warning
Oxycodone.
people. Yeah, yeah. Uh, simple things: Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen. That's all bartable. That's perfect. If you don't know how to make alcohol, learn how to brew, because you brewing your scraps into an alcohol could save your life.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And learn to can. That's fun. We're going to do some canning shows. We are here one of these days soon. Going to do some fishing shows, do some other creative podcasts. That's going to be a lot of fun. Uh, Learn to fish, learn to hunt, learn to shoot, because you're going to have to probably be killing all the squirrels in your neighborhood and all the raccoons and cats and dogs. And when you get hungry, you'll eat just about anything, I promise you, including your neighbor. And I've actually heard of people eating their own children all over the world, but I didn't want to say that tonight, but I did. You get hungry enough, you'll eat anything. You'll eat your
Oh
next
yeah.
door neighbor. So I'm sorry, that sounds crazy, but it's going on all the time, and it's been going on for a long, long time. And I just want y'all to know. I hope it don't get that bad, but be prepared in case it does. Um, and like I told Chad and Mary yesterday, even if we don't have a nuclear event or a Yellowstone blow or a Cascadia situation, earthquake 9.5 that we've been expecting out here in the Northwest, we're still going to have major problems with the lockdowns, the quarantines, the new pathogens, and the government control, the censorship, and all of the other crazy, crazy laws that are being signed into action without any vote from the general public or the voter. Okay, they're just writing these things down and passing them right and left. And I don't know how we letting this happen. I really don't. I'm including myself. I don't know how the hell we're letting this happen, but it's just happening, and we're just normal. Like everybody, whatever they want to do to us, they can just keep doing it.
It's scary. All the backdoor deals, all the backdoor documents that they create, all the control that they've done, and yeah, like, I fault myself for it too, because I let it go on too. You know what I mean? Like we all did. We really can't point a finger at any individual. We have to point it at us all, because we all failed. And now, since we all failed, now we all gotta deal with the consequences that are coming.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of consequences coming. We haven't even talked about the Palestine, Ohio. People have forgotten about that. That destroyed the atmosphere, the water, the land, and the air for 3,000 miles plus around that area. And then we've got all these other chemical spills. And then we've got this situation. We've got this major 30 tons of explosive chemicals disappeared somewhere between Cheyenne and California. Now, a rail car carrying 60,000 pounds of ammonia nitrate, which is a key material used in the bomb that blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City with Timothy McVeigh back in 1995. It just happened to go missing from a rail car that left a commercial explosive facility in Cheyenne bound for California. Now, you tell me that wasn't a CIA deal. If you can tell me that wasn't a CIA deal, I'll kiss your ass. Came from Dino Noble, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Rail car 4076. Rail car 4076. It says 60,000 pounds of ammonia nitrate. Okay. Ammonia nitrate is primarily used in explosives. Now, the rail car was in transit from Dino Noble Manufacturing Plant west of Cheyenne en route to Saltdale, California, which is near Mojave. The company is a global commercial explosive manufacturer producing more than 55 million pounds of packaged explosives and more than 1.2 million tons of ammonium nitrate capacity, according to the company's website. The rail car was sealed when it left Cheyenne facility, and the seals were intact when it arrived in Saltdale. Now, listen to this. Once Dino Noble learned of the missing chemicals, company employees notified the National Response Center, which was a stupid thing to do in a way. The initial assessment is that a leak may have developed at the bottom gate of the rail car, allowing the chemical to spill out at some point during transit. Now, you tell me, common sense would tell you that 60,000 pounds of ammonia nitrate couldn't drip out of a little old hole in the bottom of a freight car. Chad,
And you know damn well that on that kind of car, they're checking every single spec to make sure nothing's leaking out of that tank with that kind of chemical in it. You know they are. So how's it going to leak out? Either they stopped it in the middle of the desert and they had some kind of tanker truck to pump it out and take it, or they just took it off the track. Either or, you had to stop that train to get it off. So
yeah,
somebody had to be involved in it.
yeah. I mean, this stuff is dangerous as hell, and you can just bet that the bomb that McVeigh built. If this gives y'all an idea, we're talking 60,000 pounds or more was missing off that freight car. Now the bomb that McVeigh built there in Oklahoma was 5,000 pounds of ammonia. It's only 5,000 pounds of ammonia nitrate fertilizer, which was mixed with 1,200 pounds of nitromethane, commonly used as a solvent, and 350 pounds of Tovex. Tovex is a water gel explosive made with ammonia nitrate and methylammonium nitrate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can't tell me that there's going to be another explosion somewhere and it's going to be big. You can't tell me this wasn't sold to terrorists. You can't tell me that this was done by accident, leaked out of a rusty rail car bottom. You just can't tell me that. Nobody can tell me that. Make me believe it. And it's going to be used, and you're going to be hearing about it soon, like you did in Palestine, and it's going to hurt a lot of people. That's a lot. 60,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate. Let me tell you something. That's enough to blow up two cities.
Easy.
That's enough to create some major, major problems with the air and the water and the land and people and animals and fish, all aquatic life, bushes, trees, grass, agriculture, you name it. Okay. So I'm telling y'all, just hang on to your pants. Something's gonna blow. Something's gonna blow.
People don't understand with that amount of ammonium nitrate, that's almost the equivalency of a nuclear weapon. Like
Yeah,
just from the explosion alone, that's like the equivalent of a nuclear weapon at their hands without the radiation.
yeah. With actually um, much more
Burn off.
toxicity than nuclear in some cases, which is terrible. Terrible. I'd much rather deal with major gamma radiation than I would fucking 60,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate with God knows what else mixed with it or in with it. So, yeah, it's going to be a bad situation. So, y'all get ready for that. Well, we're going to go a few minutes early here. This is our first show tonight. We appreciate y'all being here. And Chad, thank you for being here on our first big new show of the year here. 7:54 p.m. on the Pacific clock, 5/23/2023. Y'all check out the Northwest Police Fire and Emergency Disaster Rescue Team over there at www.facebook.com/NWRPFE. I feel like I'm getting my glasses at the optometrist. EMDT, whatever the hell that means. Y'all see it there. And check out our show and share the shows, ladies and gentlemen. It means a lot to us. We're not getting monetized right now, and we would like to get monetized so we can help give the money back to the program. That's what it's all about with us, is kind of bringing in money and then funneling it back into the nonprofit so we can support ourselves and support the missions, because there's not tons of money coming in from y'all aren't pouring money on us out there. I wish you were, because it would sure help a lot. But we're gonna have to figure out a way ourselves to do it, and until we can get some grants from some foundations, which we're filing in the next week or two, we're going to have major grants request out for about $1.2 million. But we still need to live, okay? And right now we're skimping by here, okay? But it's going for a good reason. It's going for a good cause. So y'all help us out if you can. And
Every
as I
dollar
said,
stays alive. Just remember that every single dollar that we get saves a life. Just $1. I know I sound like that infomercial. Just $1 a day could save a child in Africa. No,
yeah,
seriously, $1 from any of our followers, fans, literally saves a life every time we get a dollar donated to us.
yeah, yeah. And I know it's hard for y'all to trust. I know it's hard for y'all to believe in these things. I know it's hard for y'all to not think that there's some kind of scam going on and be paranoid, because that's just the way it is today. We talk about it all the time because Marion and I have been scammed. He's been scammed. Chad's been scammed. We've all been scammed. We've all been hoaxed. We've all been double crossed. And so I don't blame y'all for being skeptical, but just do your best to listen to the shows and see what we're doing, and look into some of our pictures and things on the internet, KilerDavenport.com. Chad will be putting his information on the website here over the next week, and y'all can check him out and look at what we're doing out there. Read some of our poetry, read some of our articles, read my books. I have books on Amazon.com. I'm a prolific writer over there, Amazon.com. The Lone Wolf series, and I'm also on Amazon.com under Modern Evolution of Minds. Modern Evolution of Minds. I have all of my dark poetry over there, and I've got four more books coming out pretty quick. And one is going to be dedicated to targeted individuals, and I'm going to be working with the Psychiatric Association of America to educate them on what a targeted individual is and how mind control has affected these people, and give them the sources and reports and dossiers that I have in my possession to prove to them once and for all that targeted individuals do exist, and that they are sick and they do need help, and they do not need to be locked up in the behavioral health unit. Y'all take care. May the force be with you all. Godspeed and all of that. Keep your head on a swivel and keep your eyes wide open. Chad and I will be back tomorrow night. Y'all take care. Bye bye. Adios.